This is an overview of the ETM-60 tube and pipe bending machine manufactured in Italy by Memley. This machine can be tooled for round tube or round pipe as well as square tube. Today we're going to look at an application for 1-inch square tube by 1/16 wall. I want to show you a little bit about making two bends on one application. The touch screen here is a new feature by Memley. It's a digital programmable screen where it allows you to create 40 programs with 5 positions per program. Right now we're going to look at the first step of the program, which is the spring back. The spring back is basically the distance between the profile and the back end of the jaw. Regarding round tube and round pipe, there's always a little bit of distance sometimes, maybe an inch, inch and a half. What you're going to do is once you hit the bottom button underneath the degree of spring back, you press start, and what that does is it brings the jaw up enough to touch the back side of the profile. That is going to be the degree of spring back. The degree of bend is going to be after that. So the software will count out the degrees of spring back and then the degree of bend. In this case, if you're going to go 90 degrees, we want to program 96 degrees to make sure or to account for the spring back here. Now, let's take a look at the counter bending and the formers. This is a square tube former. It's a split die with a bump with a 3-bolt pattern. Square tube is going to swell in the tooling once it's bent, and so you have to be able to release the top portion of the tooling to allow that and to allow it to bring the profile out. If not, you'll have to beat it out with a hammer. The second portion of this is the counter bending housing, where it has the 2 flat formers. Then you also have your stroke distance for the counter bending housing. You can bring it forward or backwards, and then you've got your cam lock. What you want to do is bring that counter bending housing up just enough to where you can lock the formers, counter bending formers, against the profile to where it's snug, just like that. And once you have that for every profile that you have set up there, you don't have to wind it back or forward. Just release the cam handle and hit the return button. We also have an 8-foot 5-stop position, what they call a POB or DOB table, plane of bend or degree of bend. This particular example here, we only have 2 bends, so we've set up 2 stops, one for the back side where we tighten down the chuck on the square tube, and the other 2 stops are where the 2 bends are to take place within this profile. You can also bring that chuck out of plane and again up to a 5-degree increment. So what we're going to do is we've got this set up for the 2 bends. We're going to take the indexer, move it forward to where the first position. As you slide over that stop, you've got a locking mechanism in the back. It's going to lock the indexer into place, and that's the position where you're going to make your first bend. So we're going to tighten up the 3 bolts on the former. You want to get them hand tight. Don't need to over tighten them to allow the profile to come through. Bring our cam lock into compression, and then we're going to make the first bend. You get return, you pull your handle back to release that, and then we're going to want to loosen the 3 bolts on the former. You want to square up your table, and then push the indexing device to over the second stop. Lock that down, and then we're going to make the second bend of the application. Travels 90 degrees, the indexer comes up. Now we're going to pull the handle on the counter bending die. We're going to loosen the nuts for the former, and we're also going to loosen the screw that holds the square tube in the square chuck, pull it back, and then release the profile out of the former.